Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Friday Night Live. Happy weekend. We are back again. My God, the weeks are flying by, absolutely flying by. I cannot believe it. These lockdowns, man, these lockdowns are just crazy. One after another, time is just fusing into itself. I'm Dave Morrissey, your host, as always, every week. And you're probably wondering why that link is flying across the bottom of the screen. So I better get straight into explaining that before we get into the guests. So, of course, it is a PayPal link. And you know, if you know me, I swore for many, many months last year that I would not put any sort of tip jar PayPal links on the programs or whatever. But I got chatting to a few friends of mine during the week, and one of my mates actually said to me, you know what, you should put something up and just put it up there and see what happens. So I said, you know what, I'm going to stick it up. You see the PayPal link is there, and it's just to support the show. That's all it is, really, to make, as patrons of the show, if you want to make a small contribution to the show for sundries and things that we use, like backdrops and the gear and getting everything, keeping everything going and stuff like that. So if you want to put a few bob into the kitty for that, that would be super. Okay, so that's why it's there on the bottom of the screen, and that's the only reason it's there, just to kind of move things along with Friday Night Live and keep things kind of oiled up. So it's up to you. You can still watch Friday Night Live for free, by the way. Don't panic. It is not a compulsory donation or anything like that. It's your choice completely. Okay, so anyway, moving on. This is episode number 14. Can you believe it? Number 14. We've got some really cool guests on tonight, I have to say. I've got Noel Boland, who scored a couple of number ones in the country and western charts in the past couple of months. He's got a new single out. It's really cool. I had Tiz McNamara on from Canada. Unfortunately, Tiz can't make it for personal reasons, but look, we'll play the video. I want you to see his video because it's really, really cool. He was coming from Toronto tonight, but he won't be able to make it. But I think I might have a wild card surprise guest for you this evening. Okay, so say nothing. And from Australia tonight, we have from Sydney, Mr. Stephen Castles, an old friend of mine and a fabulous singer / guitarist. So you're going to want to tune in for him. And then we're finishing off with my good friend, the one and only Catrice Greer, who, of course, organised all of the Poetry Corner and spoken word segments that you saw on Friday Night Live over the past couple of months. She is coming on tonight just to close up that section of it, and then we're going to bring it back in August, just in case you're wondering. If you're wondering why I sound like I have a cold, I got my second jab of Moderna yesterday. And I can tell you something, lads, I'm delighted to have gotten my second jab. I'm delighted to be fully vaccinated, but it hit me like a steam train today. I'm not going to lie. There are, sort of flu-y side effects that you feel like you just got run over by a bus. So apologies if I sound a little bit nasally tonight, but that's why. Anyway, moving on. Let's get into it. My first guest tonight is none other than the ultra groovy retro king himself, Mr. Ger Eaton. Now, you will, if you don't know who Ger is, you should. He has played with many, many good big acts, most notably at the minute, The Pale. He's playing with The Pale at the minute. But we'll get into more and more of who he's jamming with and stuff like that in a few moments. But first, I wanted to introduce you to a video of his called Hollow, which is his new single. Hollow is part of a 3 single series that he's releasing. He's got 2 of them out already, and the third one is in the process of being made. And it's a kind of a story that came to him in a dream, which I love. And it's kind of going back into early sort of childhood right up through discovering music, I think, but he'll tell me more about it if I'm wrong anyway. But without further ado, I want to get straight into that. So this is Mr. Ger Eaton, and this is called Hollow, his new single. It's really, really cool. The video, by the way, is just fantastic. So you got to watch the video, okay, to really get into this.
Have you ever felt hollow? Have you ever felt the sea as you're resting in the shallows and the waves are rising? Is there a higher grace, somewhere a higher place, where the waters cannot reach? Have you ever felt beaten by a cold and raging wind that sweeps all that's before it, laying bare a furrowed skin? A single teardrop forms a lonely river and it turns the shoulder to its origin. Still I stumble on, for a father's love seeks the shelter from within. And have you ever felt hollow like me?
Wow, what a tune. What a tune. What can I say? I mean, it's just every time gets me. And I watched that video, I would say, at least 15 times this week. And I'm not lying when I say that. I love it. So let's get straight into it. The man himself, Mr. Cool, Ger Eaton.
How are you doing?
It's good to have you, man. Good to have you.
So you're responsible for bringing my YouTube views up.
I hope so.
Single-handedly.
That is my plan. That is the plan behind the show. That really is what it's all about. Just spreading the love. That's a really cool tune, and I'm not just saying that. I love it. I knew about you through various different things. I know you've worked with Mundy and Duke Special, Jack L, Fionn Regan, and of course The Pale. But your own thing. How has this come about? Is this kind of a lockdown project, or how did this come about?
Yeah, it kind of is. I mean, obviously, playing with The Pale at the moment. Last year we had big plans. It was going to be the 30th anniversary of the band. I'm only with them a couple of years, but that all got kind of sidelined. So I kind of did find myself at a bit of a loose end, and it was actually my daughter that encouraged me to put stuff out just under my own name, because all my own bands. I mean, you mentioned the people I played with there, but I had my own bands back from the 80s. I was started on drums in a band called Premonition in Dublin.
Premonition, yeah. I checked
back in
that
the
out.
old days.
I checked that out. I love it. Yeah, you had a single. You had a 7-inch single back in '89.
We did on EMI Records, yeah. And then we a member left, and things happened. But yeah, I think we thought we were somewhere between the Smiths and the House Martins, but
cool.
But anyway,
it's a good place
so that
to
was
be.
it was.
It's a good place to be.
Do you know, it was simpler times then. It was like simpler times, in that I think you knew as a band then what you needed to happen was a label to come over, see you play. You had demo tapes sent off to the labels. It was more straightforward. I think it was kind of
simpler.
Yeah, the steps on the ladder were clear. I don't think it's so clear anymore, and it's easy to put stuff out, but it's not easy to get it noticed or heard.
Yeah, there is that. You hit the nail on the head there, because I was thinking about that during the week. There's this flood of music out there now, and I sometimes see it like a bit like a Pink Floyd video, where you see where it's all going through the mincer, and you've got this big massive amount of music getting minced into this little funnel, and by the time it gets to enough people, it's quite difficult. Like, it is difficult. There's no kind of plan. There's no format. I do love the fact that there's a lot of music out there, but you're right. It's tough to get it noticed, and it's tough to get it into the hands of the right people. Would you agree?
Absolutely, yeah. that's it, really.
Yeah, but this project, kudos to your daughter, by the way. She made the right decision by saying, "Daddy, get your stuff, get your stuff going, man. Do it because it's brilliant. It really is."
Thanks again.
Hollow the single is part of it. It's a sort of a triple series, isn't it, of singles? And you had one out before this.
Yeah. I mean, I think the songs themselves aren't connected in terms of the themes of the songs as such, but it was more the video theme that I kind of came up with the idea of 3 videos. So it didn't really matter what song kind of came next. It was always going to go with the next video concept. So they just seem to have fitted really, really well. And in fact, the second one, the Hollow, as you just played there, originally it was going to be another song, was in the shake up for that one, and a friend that helps me with the videos was doubting whether the running motion with the slower song would work, but I knew in my heart it was going to work, so I always go with my gut feeling in these things, so yeah, the third one, we're in the processes of making the song. It's well underway, and I'm hoping to shoot the video possibly this week coming if the weather's good.
Brilliant.
And hopefully August I'm planning to try and get it out for
Get it out.
Yeah,
and that was your son in the video in Hollow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we spoke about that during sound check earlier on, and I have to say that really drilled the point home to me, because I released a single back in 2016 called Joey Had to Fly, and it was kind of similar kind of concept where I was trying to capture that kind of an idea, and we never actually made the video after. And when I saw your video this week, I said, that's it, that's it, that's what I'm trying to do. I had this idea of these 3 young boys who used to hang out together in my childhood, and to get them to be running through the fields and all this different kinds, and you capture that totally in Hollow. It's, I don't know whether you meant it or not, or what the idea, but it definitely caught me when I watched it. I was like, there's something very just primitively wonderful about this.
Well, do you know what I think it is, and to kind of get into the technical, we purposely went for the 3 videos. I'm doing them all in one take, and I think there is something about a one take video. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff online about the theory of this, but the one take thing, without you even realizing it, draws you in, because you've got no edits and you've got no stuff distracting you from what's going on, so you're never distracted from the action. And I think that's I had that plan all the way, was to do them in one takes. And a previous project I had or I was involved in, called the Carnival Brothers, a few years ago, we released a song, and that was done with a one take video, and that was the first time I'd ever done a one take. And that one was much harder to do. We had a lot of choreography and dancers and all sorts of things going on. It took us all day to do that. But the ones I'm doing now, like literally my first release, which was I Thought I Had a Friend, back in October, we did three takes, and we used the first take, and genuinely we used the first take. And then with the Hollow one, I shot that with my son, as you said, and I said we might have done it 3 or 4 times as well, and that was it. It was all very quick, and there's no editing afterwards, so just a bit of grading.
Do you know what, your videos, to me anyway, tie in with your music as well, because I know you're a big fan of tape machines and the 4-track process and stuff like that. I remember back in the early days using the Tascam 4-track. Do you remember those cassettes? And I still have it here. I have it in a flight case, man. And I tell you, sometimes I take that baby out and I give it a spin, because I need to kind of get myself back to basics, and just not allow myself to be going nuts on Logic Pro and all these different gadgets that you have. I don't need the trumpets and the whistles and the whole lot. There's you're a big fan of that, though, aren't you? You're using that a lot.
We went back to 4-track tape. I've been working with 2 friends on this project. A friend called Duncan Maitland, who was with Picture House, and
you know Duncan well,
Duncan. So extremely talented guy, multi-instrumentalist, and we have shared passions for everything, films and music and all kind of things. And then there's another friend of mine from San Francisco called Sean Coleman, who's in a band over there called Sunshine Club, and he's worked with various people, Eels and people like that. He grew up.
I checked him out during the week. He's very, very cool.
Yeah. So we're the 3 of us are like peas in a pod, really. We love all the same music, East Coast or West Coast American kind of Beach Boys stuff, and all that kind of thing. And and also we share a love of the vintage equipment and mics and preamps, all that crack. So it was myself that really wanted to push to do on 4-track tape, and the lads were well on board, and it's been just great because we all kind of play different instruments, so we're able to, you know, you've got to be very focused with 4 tracks, you know, as to what's going to happen, who's going to play what live and together and everything. And everything's gone, a lot of it's gone down to one track. And we also went for, there's a method of mixing, which I think is called LCR, I think maybe, which is hard left, center, hard right. And that's what we've done.
That's right. Yeah. I've done it. Yeah, I've done it. It's really cool. And you know, you mentioned Duncan Maitland. Oh my God, like Duncan is just, he's like, he's the guru of production in my book, musically in this country. He's just unbelievable. There's nothing the guy can't turn his hand to. But I know he's a big fan of the vintage sound, and
yeah, absolutely.
He's got a big push on at the moment. Actually, he's got something coming out, I think, because he's got a new page.
Yeah, I've been privy to it. I've heard the stuff, so it's great. So you can trust me. Yeah, it's great. It's quite. If people know his debut album, which was incredible, which is quite a few years ago now, this one is definitely, it's moved on considerably in terms. It's not just a copy of what he did before. He's going somewhere else, which is great.
Super.
You know?
Yeah, his name keeps popping up, like with many guests I've had on here. It's amazing. Like, you get to know the producers very, very well when their name keeps coming up. There's a reason for that, because they're good at what they do, you know.
Yeah.
So the day job. Tell me about the day job.
Well, the day job, I suppose, I brandish scissors every so often and cut people's hair. So
I love it.
I had a day today now, cutting a few heads. So I've done that for years, and it's a really enjoyable. It's a people job. It's, you know, a lot of chatting and. You know, you must get to know people.
You must get a bit of inspiration up and down from chats. Like, I mean,
yeah, totally. Yeah, I've met some really interesting people who have, you know, would have led on to other connections and so on. So it's incredible how it's what's amazing about cutting hair. Really, when you think about it, I've thought about this before, because there's people I've been cutting their hair for 20 years or more, so they become like they're friends, really. But yet you only see them maybe, let's say, 6 times a year.
Yeah.
For maybe an hour at a time. So 6 hours a year. It's not much.
Yeah.
Even over 20 years is not much. But you know everything about each other. It's like like condensed. It's like a catch-up that's condensed to a very, very focused hour. Like you cover it all. You know, we you know everything about each other.
Yeah, and, I find that. Yeah, I found that even doing this, doing the show, the guests that have been on that I don't know personally, but we kind of tend to stay in touch after the shows and stuff. And it only takes a couple of minutes just to pop in and out and say hi, and it's lovely to keep in touch. I can imagine. My mother was a hairdresser, and I remember sitting there as a child, and I actually was probably some of my first musical inspirations came from that place. Looking at the characters coming in and out. And the way they used to interact and stuff, I loved it. The way they used to interact, and the bold honesty in the hairdressers is just brilliant. People just let the guard down. I love it.
Oh, they do. Yeah, big time. Yeah.
You know, it's kind of akin to being a doctor, nearly. You know, people tell you everything. You know, it's cool. But that aside, anyway, you also had a pretty cool. I know you have a pretty cool house, because I was looking at an article during the week where you came in second on the RT Home of the Year program.
We did, the first series of it,
Your gaff is very different to a lot of houses that we would walk into nowadays in modern day. You've kept it pretty much Formica styled retro, like somewhere in the mid 70s. Am I right?
Yeah, definitely. Kind of 60s, 70s, for sure. And I think the house was probably built in the 70s, but it wasn't like we kind of transformed it to this rather than kept it like this. I suppose really it was more of a labor of love to kind of turn it around. But it's kind of got legs to itself, and it got used. We never go actively looking for things, but we've had some photographers coming out to photograph things, and we had a photo shoot a number of years ago, and that led on to the Home of the Year, and then from that kind of other things have come. You know, so
Cool.
we had the band Saint Sister just did their latest video here.
Cool.
About 4 or 5 weeks ago. That's out now. Their album just came out there the other day, so that video was shot here. And
In your house, wonderful.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks. I mean, the house, okay, is our house, but they did a really nice job on. It's quite surreal and that.
I love it. I mean, yeah, I think it's important to surround yourself with what you love. It really is. I'm in an old farmhouse here, Jar, in deep in the south of Limerick here, chatting to you, and I'm surrounded by beautiful scenery and the animals and all that kind of whatever. But in the house, my wife and myself, we tried to keep the place very authentic. We tried to keep it. It's 103 years old, so we tried to keep it like that kind of a feel. When you walk in here, you want to feel like you're in, it's done up to a point, but you want to make it feel like it still has that character. You don't want to steal the character from the house. And I love that. Sitting back in each room, I just love it. Just looking around, and there's little bits around the place, new and old. It all ties in lovely, doesn't it? It really does. But anyway, that's me. I'm a bit like you that way. I like old stuff. I really like vintage old stuff. But you went into Ripper Street, okay? And this and when you went to Ripper Street, what I loved about this was you went for wardrobe, and they kind of said, you know what, you're grand, you're okay.
Yeah, Jeremy. I wore my own gear. Yeah, and
that's brilliant.
Like I've always loved clothes, obviously, and that was at the time when I had the beard. It was the Carnival Brothers had the beard and all that kind of crack. Yeah. And I knew somebody whose wife was involved in the Ripper Street kind of production, behind the scenes stuff. So she kind of got me in through I didn't have to go through an agency or anything like that. She just kind of got me in there. Yeah. And but yeah, I had my own cane and top hat and all that kind of crack. And like when we were finishing doing scenes, they'd be gathering all the canes and hats from everybody, and I'd have to, they'd be going to get mine, and I'd be like, no.
Yeah. This doesn't go. This does not.
You're the guy. You're the guy with your own gear. So, but no, I've always loved clothes, and in fact, like only last weekend, I was asked to model for an Irish company called Gimme Danger Vintage, and this jacket they gifted me at the end of the session. So yeah, I was pulling my best blue steel faces here last weekend in the house and throwing on all sorts of clothes, So I've always loved clothes, I've always loved clothes, and I can kind of pick things out to suit. Like when I knew I was going to Ripper Street, I was able to pick out stuff that I knew was of the period. If I was going to do something based in the 60s, I could turn up like that,
Cover that.
Yeah, I can dig it out, whatever it needs.
Yeah, brilliant. Because I know you're a huge fan of the Beatles, and of course, like aren't we all? But I mean, you're into it in a big way, and you kind of live in it as well, because I can hear it in your music. I can hear the Beach Boys as well, to be honest, very obviously, but that kind of Strawberry Fields vibe, I can just hear it all over your music. It's that kind of tapey sound. I recognize it because in the studios, I most people that would go, wow, what's he talking about? But I recognize the sound. And is that probably the first band you ever got into, the Beatles, or what was the first? What was the first?
No. First was, where am I? Elvis was my first. Was my first love. So I was in the Elvis fan club probably when I was 7 or 8. I sold my membership card, and used to get a little magazine would come out maybe every 3 months or something like that. Yeah. So I was in the Elvis fan club. Yeah, I was a massive Elvis fan, and then I think when I was probably around 12, I was born in 69, so around 80, 81, I really got into the two-tone.
Yeah.
So that became my massive passion then, was all things two-tone madness and the specials and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And through that scene, through the mod scene and the skinhead scene in Dublin at the time, it kind of brought you back to soul and Motown and Trojan ska and all that kind of stuff. And then, through mod bands like the Jam, or revivalist mod bands like the Jam, then you'd go back into the Who and back into the Small Faces and all that kind of stuff. And then moving on through the 80s, Elvis Costello and the Smiths, obviously. And so it was that was the turning point. I suppose I was at the age where I was really discovering music. I started to play drums and joined the Premonition when I was probably about 15 maybe. And so yeah, so that was my evolution, if you like, into music. And from that, I suppose my brother was 3 years older. He was in the band with me at the time, Premonition. He was 3 years older, so we used to share a bedroom. And he was a big Beatles fan and big ABBA fan, which was unusual. ABBA and the Beatles, but great, but not at the time that you would have thought. But then he got into the mod scene, so we used to be going around on the scooters, and I'd be on the back of his scooter and that kind of thing. So from that, it was the Jam and all that kind of stuff. And then so I think it was through sharing a room, as you do. There's no escape from each other's influences, and then of course joining the band with him. Then he was the bass player. I was the drummer at that stage. So
did you lay the drums down on Hollow? Did you play the track?
Yeah, I did. We recorded down in Sean's workshop. Sean is an incredible Sean Coleman. He's a great guy. He fixes everything, as well as being a great musician and engineer and all kind of stuff. But he's been repairing my vintage equipment, keyboards and amps for years. So he has a workshop. It's not a studio. It's not a studio as such, but and it's full of stuff which I love. Because I love things around me. So I was originally going to record it in the house here, and then this was kind of during the lockdown. We just decided to record it down in his place, and because he had he actually took my tape machine down and gave it a service, gave it a once over to make sure it was working properly and stuff. So we just said we'll do it down there. So he just barely made enough space, right? Really. So I set my kit up. Like, it's a very simple drum beat on Hollow. So it's like, bass drum, snare, hats. There wasn't like, 50 tom toms.
I sense it. Did I hear a kind of a tambourine, a bit of a tambourine on the hats?
Loads of percussion. Yeah. I mean, we overdub loads of percussion, and again on the song we're working on at the moment, I've been building up all sorts of percussion, fiber slaps and triangles and all that kind of thing. So it's all it's everything, throwing everything at it. And I've always been a great believer in anything around you is potentially a percussion instrument. I know you've got a drum background. Everything can make a sound, and I love watching music documentaries, and just to kind of demonstrate it to people. Maybe I was watching a documentary about the making of Tears for Fears. I think it was Songs from the Big Chair. I think it was, and the start of Shout, which is obviously one of the big songs. Massive, there's a sound on it, which is that like ding 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 sound.
The bottle, kind of that kind of sound.
He was actually hitting the cymbal stands with sticks.
That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I would have assumed, because they were quite electronic, I would have assumed it was some sort of a sample or something. But no. They found a sound, and that's what it was.
I always thought that was bottles for some reason.
It's quite resonating, isn't it? But
I love it.
I suppose that a cymbal stand, if it was hit with the right, maybe a metal stick or something like that. But that just demonstrates that absolutely anything, and that's the signature sound. I mean, once that comes in at the start of the song, it's arrived. And so anything can give you that sound that you're looking for.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I love it. Yeah. As a drummer myself, I hear you totally. I'm always going around the house, and the kids looking at the kids are looking at me going, "Dad, what are you doing?" And I could be like playing, the sync is my snare drum and the counter is my kick drum, and the tap becomes a bit of a kind of a cowbell, and yourself. Wherever you are, I love it. Absolutely. Glastonbury with Jools Holland. How did that happen?
Yeah, well, we did. I did Glastonbury. With Jack L. I was playing with Jack at the time. In fact, I wasn't playing with Jack at the time. I had been playing with him. I toured with him for quite a while, and he had got Glastonbury, and his drummer at the time wasn't able to make it for some reason, and I was drafted in. So I said gladly. So that was we did Glastonbury, which was fantastic, and the Jools Holland television program was with Duke Special, and again.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
It was just, not say right place at the right time, but I Duke or Peter Wilson, he'd seen me playing with Mundy. We did a gig together up in Belfast with Bell X1 and himself, and then Mundy. So I'd never met him before. We chatted that night. He's a very shy guy, really lovely guy, but very, very
Yeah.
shy, sort of timid kind of a guy. And so we chatted that night and whatever. But he contacted me then, maybe a month or so after, and asked me would I be interested in doing some gigs. And he sent me the songs that he wanted to do and so on. So I did a few gigs with him, including some in London, and then the Jules Holland show came along, and he had to pick his lineup for it, and he asked me would I do it, which was fantastic. Yeah.
He had a massive, he had a massive kind of a sort of a rush there for a couple of years, didn't he? Duke Special, like he really had a good run there, with two of the albums in the early stages. I went to see him live. You could have been with him, I'd say. I went to see him live a few times in Dublin, but like, what an artist! What a superb artist! Like, in every way, shape, and form. As a musician,
no, absolutely, he's an incredible piano player. Clearly, great singer, great songwriter. But I think this is not doing him a disservice anyway. I think it's just kind of being honest about my view on that. Because when he was on Jules, that was the Deep Forest album, and like that was had the big songs and so on. And normally you would have said that was going to be the springboard, like that album, Jules Holland, and everything else.
I would have thought, yeah.
But I don't think he's ever one to follow the path that you should typically follow, and to demonstrate that, I know he did a really brilliant album where he was asked to write songs to accompany paintings in a gallery, I think in New York.
I remember
so he
that.
was sent. I mean, like, that's not your standard thing, and that's an incredible, as a songwriter, to be able to look at a painting and write a song about the painting and do that for 10 paintings or whatever. That's not easy, and that's not necessarily going to be a commercial an
option there.
So I think, I'm not saying he purposely undermined his own career path. I just don't think he didn't try and come out with the next album with loads of catchy pop hits. Because he just did what his gut told him to do, and he's absolutely right to do that. And everything he's done has been fantastic, and
absolutely,
he's got passion. He's got real passion. Yeah.
Well, look. I mean, I'll be honest with you. That's my guilty pleasure. Are those kind of artists that you don't know what's going to happen next? I mean, that's a true artist. Unfortunately, in this day and age, that's sadly missed a lot. That people after the big pop hits happen, and often they just happen because that's what the artist is feeling at the moment, and then it doesn't happen on the next album. People fall away, which is an awful shame. I think myself, you should stick with it. I try to stick with the acts that I like, and I keep listening to their stuff. And I mean, you're very true to yourself. In fairness, it's obvious by chatting to you here and by listening to your music and stuff. I love it. It's 100% you. What is the plan for after the next single, and hopefully when we're actually able to go into a venue again? Have you got anything for gigs or a tour, or perhaps
well,
a tour?
It's strange. I've been asked about gigs, and I've never ever been asked was I going to gig ever before, but I have been this time, which kind of caught me by surprise. But I have been talking to obviously Duncan and Sean have been working with me on these recordings. I mean, I've got a few other songs that I've written. I'm not finding it difficult to write songs at the moment. It's coming quite freely, but I wouldn't have 12, 13, 14 songs to do a gig necessarily. I could dip back into my past, but I didn't kind of want to do that. So I was chatting to two other friends of mine who I've worked with a lot over the years. A drummer called Graham Hopkins, who
fabulous
played with all sorts of people, and would have also released his own music under the Halite name. And then another friend, Colin Queerney, who's released under the name Q,
Colin.
and has played with Lear and all the kind of people. So we've all, I've gigged with Colin and Graham and people. So I had this idea that the five of us, so that would be the two of them and myself and Duncan and Sean, could do some gigs where we would, because we all play different instruments, and that we would kind of do each other's songs. So it would be like we'd all take 4 or 5 songs from our own thing, and I'd play drums, he'd play guitar, then we'd flip over, I'd come up and sing, and and we could all take a time.
Share the set.
Share the set and make it, I think, more interesting. I think to the punter, and just really have an unusual live experience, you know. So that's
Yeah,
I think we're all up for it. We just need to
sounds great. Oh my
get our
god.
finger out now, you know.
Yeah,
So
that's like to
I
me
think
now. That's a bit of a sort of a Dublin slash Leinster super group, in my opinion.
well, yeah, well,
I studied in BIM, and I know Colin, and of course Graham popped in and out a lot. And I'm from Kildare originally myself, so I know Graham, and like just with, of course, with Duncan as well, and that would be a fabulous lineup, and
yeah,
well,
I think it'll be cool. It'll be very cool because we'd also all get fun from playing the different instruments, you know, rather than being stuck on one instrument and
yeah,
knowing that you could just have a bit of crack from it, you know.
yeah.
And
I agree. I agree.
and also we're all I'm not going to say we're all great singers, but we're all lead singers in our own project. So the
Yeah,
potential for harmonies and
yeah.
you know, is just clearly there. It's like,
Yeah, you've got this kind of,
you
you
know,
can have that kind of Crosby, Stills, Nash and
oh
Young, the
yeah,
Beach
yeah, yeah,
Boys,
yeah,
whatever. You would have that sound.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was always a firm believer in any band I played in. I used to say to any of the boys who were in the band, look, even if you can't sing, have a go at it, because it does make a huge difference. If I walk into a venue and I hear 3-4 part harmonies, I'm done. I'm there. I'm sold
yeah,
straight away.
totally,
It's just beautiful. People don't even know why they like it. It's just wonderful.
yeah, yeah.
That's going to be great. I'm delighted. I didn't know about that. So that's something to look forward to. I hope that
Yeah,
happens.
I think by me saying it publicly as well, that kind of puts it up to us to actually follow
Yeah,
through. But
yeah,
I think I know we're all up for it, and like I think with us all in one room together, I think it'll come together quite quickly. You know, I don't
I
think
think so. Yeah,
because
it'll be,
everybody is you know, we all know each other really well as well. So there's no it wouldn't be any getting to know each other. We'd all just be
yeah.
straight in there and
Yeah,
let's
it's a
go for
bunch of
this, you
mates.
know?
It's a bunch of mates.
Yeah,
It'll be an easy transition. You'll have a
yeah,
ball. You'll have an
yeah,
absolute ball doing it. Jer, I'll tell you, you're one of those guests that I kind of discover through other people, and then all of a sudden I go, wow, great crack. I'm so glad that you came on Friday Night Live, genuinely, because you're more than just an artist. You've got a lot of stuff going on. You're a persona, in my opinion, a personality, which is cool, and beams off you, man. It's great. I love it. And you're very true to yourself. I like that also. I think it's just be yourself and just be who you are. You're very much a recognizable individual, which is great. And it's not because you put it on, it's because that's who you are. And that's a great thing to be in this day and age. I wish there was more of you around, and that would be interesting to watch and listen to be honest. I can't thank you enough for coming on tonight and taking the time.
well, thanks for having me. It's been great.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Well,
So
listen,
what else would I be doing on a Friday evening?
I know. Listen, do you know what? I was looking out just before I came on live there with you, and it started to kind of pea rain, and I was like, yes. I was the only person early going, yes, it's raining. So people won't go out to the pub tonight because there's no point. You're going to be sitting outside under a brolly with 20 holes, and it's just not going to be comfortable. So they're all here. So it's great. So I'm delighted with the rain and with everything, because I mean, I think we're going to be in this position for another little while, so we might as well enjoy it and kick back and enjoy each other's company. That's the way I see it. Anyway.
Exactly.
I wish you all the best with the group, and I wish you all the best with the next single. I can't wait to hear it, and with everything that you're doing, and best wishes to your family and everything as well. And congratulate your son for a wonderful performance in the video, and your daughter for a wonderful Jude, is it?
Jude, yeah.
I have to say, fair play to her. She's got a future in music because she got you to do what you've done. So she definitely has a future in the business. She's able to spot talent a mile away. Fair play. I have a son here. He's the very same, and he's always getting on to me to do stuff. So it's great to get that encouragement. There's nothing like it.
You need to push sometimes. So yeah,
you do. But listen, I'm going to let you kick back and relax. And if you want to stick around and watch the rest of the show on Facebook there, please do. You're more than welcome. And thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Ger, mind yourself. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
I'll catch you soon.
So that was Ger Eaton. And yeah, what a character, I have to say. It's one of those interviews where you hear about somebody and know about somebody. And his name has cropped up many times during my sort of almost, 30 years now in the music biz, but 20 probably or less years in as a singer-songwriter, more so in the original vibe. I've heard of Ger a good few times, but I never really knew much about him. And now I do, and I'm delighted. I'm delighted that we met up. That's what Friday Night Live is all about. Is for me, it's my guilty pleasure, just hooking up with people, learning something new off everybody and discovering them. But anyway, moving on. My next guest is a very interesting guest. We kind of got to know each other through my buddies over in KMFL Radio, who you should go and check out, Kevin and Mags on KMFL. They were my guests during the One Year On show, the very first Friday Night Live that we did. And he kind of he knows the guys quite well, and I kind of have been chatting to him in the chat rooms and stuff like that. And then I said, you know what, he's got a new single out, and it's pretty damn good. I'm not going to lie, it's pretty damn good, and you're going to see it now. But without further ado, I'm going to stick that off you, and then have a chat with Mr. Noel Boland, and you'll know what I mean when you just watch the video. I mean, it's self-explanatory all the time. So here we go. This is called Always in My Heart.
Gone before your time. You're beautiful. Let your light shine on this heart of mine. I don't know why. Some flowers, they don't make it through the winter time. They seem to fade and die. I hear your voice beside me, the whisper of the wind. Every day I live, I'm one step closer to seeing you again. So rest now with the angels, somewhere beyond the stars. Remember, you're always in my heart. I can feel you here in the softness of the midnight summer rain. I wish that you could stay for a little while, so you can hold my hand and I can see just one more smile. Here, I love you one more time. I hear your voice beside me, the whisper of the wind. Every day I live, I'm one step closer to seeing you again. So rest now with the angels, somewhere beyond the stars. Remember, you're always in my heart. So rest now with the angels, somewhere beyond the stars. Remember, you're always in my heart.
What a beautiful tune. What an absolutely beautiful tune. And it just resonates when you hear it. It does exactly what it says on the tin, in my opinion. And without further ado, let's talk to the man himself, and he'll tell me. I always feel that, I can't explain the music better than the person that wrote the song themselves. So let's bring him straight in here. Mr. Noel Boland.
Hi, Dave. How are you?
Welcome to Friday Night Live, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for playing the video. Really appreciate it. And thanks for your kind words as well.
You're more than welcome. You are one of these people that is just hard to get away from lately, which is a good thing, because you're constantly you're growing and growing and growing in popularity, which is a great thing, and rightly so. That's a wonderful song.
I've been hiding for years. As you can see, I'm not getting any younger. So
listen, you're doing a great job. You're doing a good job on your own music. That was a dedication to your mum, which is beautiful. Tell me a little bit about your mum and how you ended up getting into the zone of writing a song for her.
Yeah, well, look, not to start off on a down note, but my mum passed away from cancer 9 years ago. So she never gotten to see me gig or do music because really I've only been doing pubs, I suppose, for the past maybe 8 years. Yeah, up and down the country, and it's only in the last 2 years that I've really started writing and recording. And ever since she passed away, I've always loved country music. Obviously, you can hear that from the song. But ever since she passed away, I've always wanted to do something as a dedication to her, music-wise. And I suppose, look, the song, it came to me about a year ago, and it took me literally half an hour to write. It's one of those ones that, you know, when it comes quick, the words just
there.
flow, and
It's already there. Already there. Yeah.
It's just, I suppose, it's a reflection of what you're feeling in your heart. Is just poured onto a page, and that's what music is, isn't it? And yeah, it was a dedication to her. And I said, look, I played it for my family, my dad and my sister. They absolutely love the song, obviously.
I'm sure they do.
You know, they cried in this.
Yeah, that's to me. Listen, that's not starting our interview on a low note at all. That's a wonderful note. And, kudos to you for doing that. Look, we all love our mums. We all do, and it's a wonderful thing to write about. People should do it more often. You know, I mean, people often shy away from that kind of stuff. You're being honest, but listen, #1 in the country charts and #1 in the overall charts. This song is gathering a little bit of momentum, isn't it?
The song, do you know what? It's met and exceeded every single expectation that I ever could have had. Like it really has. You know when you know yourself. Like I've just listened to your last interview there. You know when you put something out, how nervous you feel. You're in a way you're exposing yourself to the world. You're putting your feelings out there, and you don't know what's going to come back. So, and it's a cruel world out there sometimes. To have the feedback that it's had. I'm just so blown away. And I mean, the amount of messages I've had from around the world saying that it's such people in a certain way, and everybody knows somebody that's lost somebody, or they have lost somebody themselves. So it is one of those songs that really resonates. I mean, the nicest thing that's happened so far out of it is I got a call from a radio station, a lady looking for my phone number, which I gladly gave, and they said, can you give her a call? She wants to ask you about the song. I said, yeah, absolutely. So I gave her a call, and she explained to me that she lost her husband last year, and that she wanted to use the words, the chorus of the song for his headstone. And she wanted to ask my permission, which I thought, like, on my heart, absolutely sank. We both cried. Amazing. We both chatted for about an hour on the phone. Lovely lady. And I said, absolutely,
no, it doesn't get much better than that now. It doesn't get much better than that. In honor of your mum and in honor of the lady's husband and everything. It's just, isn't it amazing what lyrics and songs and music can do?
The power of music is it's just phenomenal. The power of music, like, it really is. And then I'm not going to say who the person is, but it's being picked up at the moment by a publisher, and they're looking to pitch it to a very big name US artist to be recorded. Whether he does or doesn't, look, he probably has thousands of songs a year, so whether he does or he doesn't, but he'll hear the song, and he's an idol of mine, so he'll get to hear it. That's pretty cool in my book, you know.
Well, you're still on a journey anyway yourself, and I think you're doing a pretty fine job yourself of your own song. So I wouldn't worry too much. I hope it happens, by the way. But no, I wouldn't worry about it. I think you're doing a great job anyway. What is the Josie Music Award? What is that? I've never heard of it before.
And it's funny, I hadn't. I sometimes work with this lady. Her name is Nisi, and she's based in America. She runs an independent music label. She said, I'm going to put you forward for this. So she nominated me for it. And basically what it is, it's held in Dollywood every year. So, you know, it's one of these things you go, oh yeah, I kind of thought, where is
Dollywood? Like, where is Dollywood?
Isn't that Dolly Parton's? I think it's Dolly Parton.
That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, Dollywood. When I saw it, I said, okay, this is a Dolly Parton thing. That's what I was thinking. I wanted to ask you first just to be sure. Wow, that's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah, and you
I don't
won
know
it.
if she's involved. I don't know if she's in any way involved in it, but it's held, on her thing anyway. So yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and you won the best male country vocal.
Well, I'm down to, from thousands of entries, I'm the only Irish male artist down to the final 20 in that category, which is pretty cool. I was pretty happy with that now, I have to say.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
I wouldn't win an argument normally. So.
Well, I hope. Oh yes. So September 20 this year, the result will be out.
Yeah, I wish I could go, but look, with restrictions and stuff like that, I know, I'm not going to be able to travel to that. We'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, cool. And listen, this is part of a new album as well. So I mean, how is that going? How is the progress on the new album going?
It's going really well. I'm so nervous. Really, I have another single coming out now, the 26th of July, another original single, and because the last one's done so well, I'm really nervous about releasing this one in case it doesn't do as well, or people don't like it as much as the last one. So, but look,
they will.
It's something you've written and you put it out there, and it's out there forever. So I'm pretty privileged because look, I mean, I'm a nobody at all coming from music. I've played pubs for years. I'm not on the Irish country music scene. I haven't mingled with anybody, so I'm coming from nowhere, and I'm getting to work with James Blennerhassett and Enda Dempsey on this album.
Wow. Wonderful.
Those guys, they're just incredible people.
James, you don't get better than James Blennerhassett when it comes to studio work and stuff. You just don't get better.
He's phenomenal. And look, the result is in what you've heard in the first song, and what's coming out in the future. It's literally just like we clicked. He knows what I want from a song, and he's able to bring it there. And so is Enda, And Jonathan Milligan played steel guitar.
Wow!
And on the new song, then I have Crawford Bell. He's doing backing vocals on it as well. So for me to get to work with these people, I'm extremely humbled and privileged because I don't know anybody in this industry. I'm just trying to make my way from scratch,
Yeah, why not though? I mean, why not? I know, like, I'll be honest with you, there's many great musicians in this little country of ours who have been gigging the pubs up and down the country, playing Sweet Home Alabama or whatever it is you play all night long, and they don't get the recognition that they deserve. And like what earlier, a lot of my guests have said this, but Jerry even said it in the first interview there about that lockdown is actually not a bad thing, really. It's been a good thing for a lot of us pub musicians and people who have been in weddings and the wedding scene and stuff. And you kind of go, do you know what? Now it's time to do my own thing. And I think a lot of people are going to cross over into the original. They are. I can see them. I can see them doing it. You're one of them. And there's a lot more people doing a damn fine job of their own music. They just have the time to do it. I think, are you finding yourself like kind of enjoying the lockdown a little bit? Like it's a bit of a sort of a guilty pleasure, isn't it, to have a little bit of time? Like
it is, and I've said this to Kevin before in an interview. Look, if it wasn't for COVID and the lockdown thing, I probably wouldn't have pursued this as much as I have. And because everybody's on Facebook, it's given me that massive platform to start recording and putting my own videos up there. And I mean, you'll see the first video. I was in this little studio here that I have at home, and
I saw
it was just a brick wall, and started adding bits and pieces on and growing a little bit more confident every time you're putting something up. And it's definitely given me that platform, and I'm so grateful that I've built up a little following. And I hope when things come back, the live gigging then is going to boost that a little bit more. So,
well, it'd be nice.
Thank God. And on the flip side of it, there, thank God. Like, I mean, I do work a normal 9-to-5 job, so. I wasn't dependent on music, which an awful lot of people are, and it's just awful what's happened. Like, and they've been left behind.
It is, It's a funny sort of situation. I was completely dependent upon music before this all kicked off. I was kind of I was going into the schools doing drum workshops and different things like that as my day job, and then my recording and producing and stuff. So everything was music. And everything now I can't do because we can't really bring instruments into public areas still. It's still, I know things are better, but it's not a good time to be bringing stuff in and out of buildings and stuff. But I will say this, I did the pub scene for many, many years, man. I did it for lots of years as a drummer and as a singer and all that. So I hear you. I know exactly where you're coming from. And I remember crossing over from one to the other and never looking back. Honestly, never looking back, because there's something wonderful about your own songs, album, whatever it is, and the feedback. It's just a million times better than, and no disrespect to pub gigs because they're great crack, but there's something wonderful about hopefully you get to maybe get a tour going next year. Would be wonderful. Have you anything in mind that you might be able to rustle up a tour?
Well, I mean, because I've made a little few contacts now in the business, I'm hoping to do a couple of small festivals, and myself as well, then a couple of support acts, which I really like to do as well. And I really like to try and, I think where my music would be best suited would be, like Jer was saying before, I don't have enough material to do, full gigs. So it'd have to be a country show incorporating that kind of stuff. But I'd love to do small theatres. I think that's where my music would be best suited. And that's what I'd really like to do.
Absolutely. I had Louise Morrissey on a couple of weeks ago, and she's a fabulous lady. As you know,
lady.
She came on, and she's just so down to earth. But chatting even to her, like down to the years where her beginnings and getting into it's not easy for anyone getting into it, really, when you think about it. But definitely a lot of the shows where especially in country music and in this country, were great for coming together. All the artists in the country scene tend to come together, don't they? And they share tours, and share stages, which is great. I think if you can tap into that, man, you're home and dry. Because there's so many things you can do that you don't have to have a 2-hour set. You can be, part of a party gig sort of / you know, the boat trips that they do and all those different things. I think of
Yeah.
all the things country acts do here that are brilliant. But support, yeah, I agree with you. Support gigs are the best way forward. I know myself, I did a lot of them with Aslan and various different, and they helped me greatly with my own music, getting exposed,
Yeah.
you know, to big audiences. But your influences are, some of them were obvious, I'll be honest, and some of them were not. Garth Brooks, Keith Urban, I like that one, and now George Jones. I love George Jones. Okay, he's old school, but I love him. And then George Strait.
Oh, just love those guys. Like,
Yeah.
I grew up listening to all that stuff. That's what
Did
my
you?
mum and dad always listened to. Yeah, it wasn't so much. Well, mind you, now, I mean, Declan Ernie was in there as well in the mix, and so was John Hogan and stuff like that for me growing up. So I loved all those guys as well. But whatever it was about the American country music and their vocals, and you know what it is? It's the way they bring music. They tell it as a story. It's like real life stories brought to music, and I always love that. I mean, some of George Jones and stuff now, a lot of heartbreak. You know,
George, he tells us,
and then you have Merle Haggard then with all the prison stuff. It's probably not appropriate for kids to listen to that, but you know,
but it's good.
It just tells a story, and it speaks to me on a level of I just love that stuff, and that's how I want to write. That's how I want to sing. That's probably why you see that reflected in the way I sing and I write. So I just love it. I'm stuck in the 90s.
That's okay. Well, look, there's nothing wrong with that. So am I. I'm stuck in the 90s. I was a big fan of all that kind of, well, probably from an indie scene or whatever, but I had a band called Zimmermans at the time back in the 90s, and we did a lot of gigging and stuff. We were very much influenced by, you know, the usual kind of Oasis Blur thing and all that kind of carry on and stuff, you know, and even some of the Verve and stuff like that, you know, the bands across the pond and stuff.
Yeah, great stuff
But
as well.
When I think of, like, what do you think of, like, Irish country? So, because so much of it is Americanized, isn't it? There's a deep connection there, not just in the way the music sounds, but in the way Irish country artists sing. It's very, I could put you beside Garth Brooks there and go, yeah, those guys are pretty much on the same sort of level.
Oh, well, there's a compliment.
No, I'm serious. I'm not just saying that. I really could I mean that genuinely. But what do you think the connection is? Like, there's this real deep. I asked Louise about this a few weeks ago as well. There's a real deep connection between the two, isn't there? For some reason, like, I know you said in your childhood you listened to a lot of it, but there's a kind of an American country and then there's Irish country that's kind of connected to it. You know,
there is, yeah.
Follows it.
I mean, the Irish country stuff, I mean, I think it's definitely more geared towards, you know, you're singing about stuff from Ireland and stuff that people from here relate to, as opposed, but there's still that love for the American country music. But I totally get in Ireland that there's a huge dance scene, and they they have to gear the music towards that scene, because that's what it's all about, you know, where some of the American country stuff probably wouldn't work. And it's been said to me, and maybe that's why I didn't pursue it as much before, because it's been said, look, the American stuff that you're into, the modern American country stuff, I don't think there's a market for that here. But then you have the likes of Garth Brooks that did his concerts, and he sold out in 30 minutes. He sold 400,000 tickets. So clearly there is an audience here for that kind of thing. I'm not saying I'm on that level. I just don't mean that. Like,
no, but there is an audience
for that kind of music. Like,
there is an audience.
That's what I'd love to tap into.
I mean, look, Nathan Carter, prime example. Who would have thought? Young fella with an accordion, when he came out first, people were going, Jesus, what's happening here? He's huge. He's gigantic. Whether you like him or not, you know, he's gigantic. And I think of, like, well, I think back to the days of the good old Joe Dolan days now, and that was pure. Was pure sort of Irish country, but not just country. He had a sort of a Tom Jones thing going on. There was something about Joe Dolan that was bigger than country. I mean, he was bigger than the genre, you know, when he came out in the suit and the whole lot. And I saw him as a young fella at some of the gigs. Because some of my peers used to play in the band with him and stuff. And geez, I remember going, what the hell is going on with this guy? This is just mad stuff, special. You know? Yeah, he was like James Brown meets Elvis meets, you know, Joe Dolan. I mean, he was just everything in one, but his own self. Yeah. But you know, I think there is a market for what you're doing. There totally is a market for what you're doing.
There is, but like you just said there about that whole thing. I always looked at these people. And you see them when they're at that level and when they're at that peak, and it's always like a preconceived notion that that's how it is. But you never see where they've started from, where they've showed up at a gig and there's only 4 people. You know, they've struggled as well. It's like the whole iceberg scenario. you know, you see the tip of the iceberg, but you don't see what's underneath the water. So it's definitely harder than I perceived it to be to get to that, you know, to climb up the ladder. It is hard. Like there's no doubt about it. It doesn't matter how good you are at songwriting or singing or whatever it is, but it's definitely a hard path or a hard ladder to climb.
Like, would you agree, Noel? There is an awful lot of work goes in the background of stuff. It's like when I'm here doing Friday Night Live, and like tonight, after a chat with a couple of my mates during the week, they were like, put up a PayPal link there and throw it out to people and see if you know you get a couple of quid, a bit of a pot going together from the listeners, and that help keep the show going. And I hate that kind of thing normally, but I said, right, I'll do it for the crack, because sometimes I think people don't realize there's a huge amount of work goes on behind the scenes of even doing this. And I know when you're going to record an album, I've done it. It's a gigantic task. It is not easy, and you know, juggling all the balls, getting the session musicians, getting the right studio. Do you have a producer? Are you working with Are you sticking with one producer, or
I'm sticking with James and Enda? Yeah, they're doing the full out. I'm not moving. They're doing an amazing job, and even the new stuff that I've written, what they're sending back. The next song, like, I mean, it's straight down the middle, old school country from the 90s. I've been told that by people that have heard it, and I love that. So I'm hoping that it comes across and the people love that as well. But look, it is hard. There's no doubt about it, and there's an awful lot of money that has to be poured into it. Like I actually laughed a couple of weeks ago because my dad, he wouldn't be very clued in on the whole music scene, and he rang me one day and he said, I was just wondering, he said, how much money have you actually made out of that song Always in My Heart? I said, do you really want to know? He goes, yeah. I said, I made €80, and he goes, seriously? And I went, yeah. I said, but the song cost me about €1,000 to get made. So it's you know, people don't see in the background what goes into all this stuff, and I wouldn't have known it before. I would have had a very, you know.
Yeah, it isn't
a notion that it's easier than it is.
Yeah, and it's not potluck. It's not potluck, and it's not anything like that. You know, I mean, people get record deals, and that's all fine or whatever. But I remember a friend of mine saying to me many years ago, "But a record deal is a bit like a mortgage. Nothing's for nothing. There's no such thing as a free lunch. You might get the record deal, but you have to pay every penny back. So by the time you see the profit, it's like you with the new single. It takes a lot of time to see the profits." But it is a labor of love, and it is what we love. And speaking of which,
that's why we do it. Like,
yeah, it is why we do it. My good old friend over in KMFL, Kev and Mags, who you know very well. I just wanted to give them a little mention while you're on as well, because I know they love your music, and everybody over there loves your music. And I go in and out the chat room, as you know, I'm always there. I love it. Myself and Kev are kind of very similar. We touch base a lot. We're doing something kind of similar, and we often ring each other and go, Jesus, you know, how do you get the sound on that desk there? And, you know, do you put compression on the music and all this kind of funny chats we have and whatever. But I love it. I love what they're doing over there. I love the way they're helping everybody along. They really are. I know it's predominantly kind of country music, but I love the whole interaction, the friendliness of KMFL and what they do. So Kev, if you're watching, that's my shameless plug now for you over there.
How much are you paying him now? Or how much
he's not paying me enough. You know what? He's sending me a trophy in the post. Like, I won a trophy, so I'm forward to putting that in the mantelpiece. But
do you know what I have to say, Dave? Right, I know you said a small mention, but like, if it wasn't for Kev, let's just say, I wouldn't be doing this. In the background, Kevin has done an awful lot for me. And he has given me advice, and he steered me in the right direction. And he is a really, really good guy. I have to say, he's one of those rare guys in the business that's just in it for the music, and he loves to give advice, and he loves to steer people in the right way. And he's such a lovely person. And Mags and Claire there as well, and they're doing an amazing job. And I hope it really takes off, because the model that they have, everybody seems to love it, and they're getting new people on board every week. It's brilliant, you know. And I can't thank them enough for what they've done for me. Like, I really can't.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. I see stuff. I see things that they do all the time. Keep an eye on it every week. And like Kev he's always watching out for musicians and artists and stuff. Yeah. He just loves what he does, and that's what I like about him the most. As I say, someday we were chatting the other day, and I said someday soon we'll meet face to face, and we'll sink a few pints together, and I can't wait for that day, because we don't know each other personally, but I feel as though we do. We've gotten to know each other very well online, so I'm really looking forward to meeting the lads at some stage in person, like everyone that comes on the show. Have you got a guitar?
Things about You what?
Yeah. Have you got a guitar handy?
I have one hanging up here. Look at this thing.
I see one behind you there, and I'm thinking
Look at
if that's ready to go and that's tuned up, could we have
American.
a live song?
What do we say? Takamine or Takamine? We say here. They say Takamine, don't they?
Takamine in America. Yeah, I could never
Takamine,
never understand that. Yeah, it was always Takamine in my world anyway.
Takamine. That's what I go Takamine.
Yeah. What are you going to do for us, Noel?
Will we do an original song or do you want to cover?
Please. No, go for one of your own. Absolutely.
An original song. This is not even the next song that's coming out. This is another one I've written. It's probably not even going to be out till October, November, I'd say. But
okay.
we give it a little go here. Let's see if I can hear it now with this thing in here.
What's it called, Noel?
What did I call this one? Again with you. Again with you.
Again with you. Okay, well, let's go for it. Again with you by Noel Boland. Everybody, check it out. Here we go.
We give it a try. See how it works out. Watch you dancing in the rain. It poured, you just stayed right on, like the whole world disappeared. Body and soul collide. I seen a different side of you, like I've never seen before. Barefoot in the sand. Then you took my hand and smiled, left me wanting you. In that moment, I never wanted more than to be with you right here, right now. Nothing matters, only how you feel. I could search the stars at night. Don't think I could ever find one shine the way you do. You make it so damn easy to fall in love again with you. "10 miles out at sea, seems that's where you've been sometimes. When I look into your eyes, sweet serenity, that's how you can be. But then you set my world on fire. The secret side of you let me into, and I can't get enough of you. And in these moments, I want nothing more than to be with you right here, right now. Nothing matters, only how we feel. I could search the stars at night. Don't think I could ever find one that shines the way you do. You make it so damn easy to fall in love again with you. You make it so damn easy to fall in love again with you.
Yeah, wonderful. You've got a real knack for writing a pop song, Noel.
That's the first time I've played that one live, so there you go.
Yeah, you've got a knack for a pop song as well as a country song. You could easily cross over into the pop genre. No matter, yeah. Cool. I could see, I could actually see female vocalists covering that song. Do you know what I mean? It's open to interpretation. That's what I like about it. Anybody could sing that. It would sound great if you had a good vocal. That's lovely. Really cool.
I don't know if I'm writing them right or I'm writing them wrong. I've done. I did a songwriting class with. Do you know? Have you heard of Kevin Welch?
I have.
Kevin Welch. Yeah. So Kevin's had songs recorded with Garth Brooks and Chris Stapleton. So I did a couple of songwriting lessons with him. He's a cool dude. He knows his way around Nashville, that guy. But he gave me a couple of pointers and ways to go on. And more recently, then I started co-writing with Dan Washburn as well. So he's another cool dude as well. Yeah, he knows his stuff. So I'm slowly but surely trying to.
Yeah. I went back to BIM a couple of years ago actually, and I studied. I did a songwriting kind of diploma there as well, and I learned a lot of new stuff. Things that I thought I knew, but I didn't know at all. And I've been writing songs for many years, but I learned a lot of good stuff. my tutor up there was the great Max Greenwood. He played piano with Tom Baxter and various different people. Just this, Max can just he just knows how to put the chords together. It's like, to him, it's a puzzle. It just needs to be figured out. And then, of course, the wonderful lyrics on top of it. But that's a lovely song. I really like it.
Thanks so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for coming on, Noel. And I wish you all the best with the album. We'll keep an eye on it here on Friday Night Live. We'll definitely keep an eye out for it. And I will see you, of course, on KMFL on a weekly basis in the old chat room with everybody. Everybody here is loving that. They're loving it, by the way, and your single.
Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I've no doubt we're going to be hearing a lot more about you. You're in Blessington, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. I'm in Blessington. I'm living here. Geez, when am I here now? 16 years. I'm from Carlow originally, so when I moved to Blessington about 16 years ago.
How did you end up in Blessington? I don't want to know. Don't tell me. I don't want to.
Sure, it was a woman. You know yourself.
Always the woman, isn't it? It's always the woman. Always the women. I had many a good night up in Blessington in O'Connor's. I don't know if it's still open up there, but that was a great venue for music one time. And there was Miley's as well. There was two great venues there in that town. I don't know if either of them are still going, but that's where we cut our teeth when we were starting out in the 90s. Actually,
Miley's is still going. Yeah, there's still the hall at the back. Yeah, that's still there.
Yeah. We many's a great night in there. Great nights up there. Great people. They love their music in Blessington. They know how to. They appreciate the good stuff. Fairness to them, they really do. Well, listen, I'm going to let you go and chillax, kick back there. I don't know if that's the man cave you're in or what the crack is there, but if it is, and you've a couple of sneaky beers there in a chill box there, you sit back. I knew. I didn't even have to ask. Kick back there and have a few more. And, have a listen to the rest of tonight's. I've got another great guest coming in from Australia tonight, which would be Stephen Castles, wonderful, and my friend Catrice Greer from the States as well. She's a wonderful spoken word artist. So kick back, Noel, and enjoy the rest of it. And I wish you all the best, my friend. All the best.
You're an absolute gent, and thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it, and let's stay in touch because you're a cool guy. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, we will stay in touch and come back when the album is out and everything.
I will.
Brilliant.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Dave.
Buddy. Take care. See you later, buddy. Thank you very much. So that was Noel Boland, and I can tell you one thing, lads: keep an eye out because he's the kind of fella. He's just unassuming, but he knows exactly what he's at, and he's a very laid-back character, but very straight up with what he's doing, and knows exactly how to do it, and he's learning the right way to do stuff. And making the contacts, and that's what it's all about. You put the work into anything in music, like anything, but music is put the work in and you'll get the results, and he's getting the results. As you heard there, what a beautiful song there. He just played live for us. I mean, the guy can write a song. I mean, that's all you need to be able to do. Write the song, craft the song, get it together, and the rest is history. It really is. So I had a bit of a bump in the road tonight on Friday Night Live because I was supposed to be bringing you Tiz McNamara from Toronto in Canada, who I was really looking forward to bringing on the show tonight. But Tiz, due to personal reasons, couldn't make it, and it happens. Unfortunately, he just couldn't make it, but he will be back. And you need to hear the guy. And if I get a chance to squeeze in his new single, I'll try and play the video for you. It's called April Fool. It is mind-blowing. Okay, you're going to want to see it. The video and the music and everything is just mind-blowing. Okay, that's all I will say. So if I get a chance, I'll get it into the show tonight. But I was supposed to have my next guest on at 11:30, but I see he's here now, so I'm delighted. He's a little bit early because he's kind of filling up a little bit of space, love, just beautifully for me now. That I was going to play a few videos because we had lost Tiz McNamara this evening, so I'm going to go straight to him in a minute. But first, I want to play a song, and I have to ask him about this because I think it's his own song. It might not be because he does a lot of covers as well, but I just think this is amazing. What he has done with this. It's a song called Make Your Move, and it's by Stephen Castles, who was originally, if I'm correct, and again he'll correct me if I'm wrong, from Castledermot in County Kildare. Some people say Carlow, Kildare. I say Kildare. Who is now in Sydney in Australia. Now he'll correct me if that's all wrong. That's my little bit of research done. This is called Make Your Move, and I'm not sure if it's his song or not, but it doesn't matter because you just listen to the guy sing, listen to the guy play his guitar. The acoustic, this guy can play guitar, and an old friend of mine as well. So I'm delighted to have him. Stephen Castles, Make Your Move. This is cool, and I've a sneaking suspicion that this was probably done in one take, if I know him anyway well. Here we go.
You've been feeling numb, almost dead inside. Too scared to run, trapped, nowhere to hide. You hold on to what you think is right. If you've forgotten what you love in life, happiness, joy, and childhood dreams, hopes and desires, a simpler time it seems. You got lost along the way, but there's still time to find a better way. Yeah. So stand up, take a deep breath and go do what you love. Don't live with regret. Believe there's more and take that first step. You can do it if you try. Don't ever forget that you got one life. Don't waste a single day. Don't you ever let anything or anyone get in your way. Just make your move. Don't look back. Don't you ever look back. Those that mind don't matter, those that matter don't mind. There's no better place, there's no better time. Don't make excuses, chase the life that you crave. Don't chase your dreams, oh, to the grave. No. So stand up, take a deep breath and go do what you love. Don't live with regret. Believe there's more and take that first step. You can do it if you try. Don't ever forget that you got one life. Don't waste a single day. Don't you ever let anything or anyone get in your way. Just make your move. Don't look back. Don't you ever look back.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You know, when you listen to that, you don't have to be a genius to realize genius. That's what I say anyway. And I think that is a man who always knew how to handle a guitar and always knew what he was at. Crafted himself from a very young age, from what I remember him gigging around at the local kind of scenes in Laois, Carlow, Kildare, and up into Dublin and over to Kilkenny, everywhere. And in latter times, we bumped into him more and more down through the years. And he always had a flair for the chords. He used to come out. I often remember watching him and going, where is he getting these chords from? What is going on here? Anyway, he'll tell me more. Good old friend of mine, a great friend of mine. Welcome, Mr. Stephen Castles.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Sydney. This is great. I love Australian interviews, especially here when it's like pushing on 20 past 11 p.m. in Ireland. It's just brilliant. You're the second Australian guest after Damien Leith, who was on one of the first shows. So it's morning time there. You're just up, I'd say. You're just up and getting going.
I've just polished off my morning coffee. So yeah, it is 20 past 8. 20 past 8. I'm feeling a little bit rusty.
Yeah, listen, you must at times you must kind of long for the old trip back home, do you? The way things are at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Would do anything for a trip back home right now. But yeah, I think my girlfriend's actually getting her second vaccination right now. So hoping I can get mine, in the next couple of months, and who knows, early next year, mid next year, it'd be lovely to get home for a trip.
Yeah. I got my second Moderna yesterday, and I'll be honest with you, Steve. I was grand. I came home, I was like deadly, and the girl that gave me the jab, she said, you're going to feel a little bit off tomorrow. She said, so don't panic. I said, are you sure? I said, I was fine after the first one. She said, no, you will feel a little off. And she said, look, don't worry. It's just, you'll be a bit fluey or whatever. So I thought, grand. Okay. So I woke up this morning, 6 a.m., up with the kids, the usual, walking around going, geez, I feel great. This is great. This whole vaccination thing is great. About 8:30, it was as if a 48A from Dundrum into the city centre had ran straight over my back. It was the strangest thing ever, man. Honestly. And all day today, I was struggling all day today. It's like a ghost flu. So you've got this flu, but you don't have the flu, but you feel all the symptoms, but you don't actually, you don't have it. It's the weirdest thing, but I'm okay now. I'm fine. I'm having a couple of beers now and I'm fine. Maybe that's why I'm fine. But anyway, best of luck with your vaccines. And I hope she's okay after it, because most people are, in fairness. It was only a couple of hours of discomfort. Anyway, we should get to the music. Is that or is that not your song? Because I need you to verify that.
Yes, it's an original.
Hallelujah! I was really banking on that, because I know you do a lot of covers, and I said this can't be a cover because it just sounds too much like something you would write yourself. Because I'm familiar with your stuff. What a tune! What a tune, man! Do you still include that in your jams, or do you get to play that song in your set when you get out?
Well, I made a conscious decision years ago to write songs I couldn't play. So it really challenged me to practice more on the guitar, and that song is probably the hardest I've ever written technically. So if I don't practice it regularly, I can't just pick up the guitar and play that one. I have to sort of practice it for a little while. So not that often. I really like that song. I wrote it for a friend who needed a bit of a pep talk, probably 6 or 7 years ago here in Sydney. And it really is just. I've had a couple of text messages from family members as well in recent years saying, get a little pep up to go and do whatever they were struggling with at the time, which is nice. I love it. I really enjoy playing it. I find it really hard to play. I really like the words. It's a positive song.
Yeah, it is. I felt great after listening to it, and I've listened to it a good few times during the week. What I do is when I get the songs together from guests that are coming on each week, I put them on a playlist, and I usually do the test with the kids. So I kind of play, run it over and over on a playlist on a speaker outside, and they love Make Your Move. They love it. There's something they were getting into it, and I was thinking, okay, it has to be positive. If kids bop around the place, it's positive. There's a good message there. But going right back, way back, Castle Dermot, man. Wow, those heady days, huh? And I remember bumping into you. Firstly, you were doing kind of solo gigs around Portlaoise and Carlow and different places like that before you got your band, the Jaywalkers, going, which was a fabulous band. Tell us about how you kind of fell into music in the first place. How did it all kind of start?
I think it was with my parents. I was walking down the main street in Carlow, and we walked past. I've got terrible memory with the music shop on the main street in Carlow. I hope it's still there.
I think it's Ad-Lib. Was it Ad-Lib music?
Ad-Lib, yes, it was Ad-Lib. And I remember my mom just pointing at it and going, I think it was a birthday or something like that, and like they were trying to figure out what to get me for my birthday, and they saw this guitar, and I was like, yeah, maybe. And my actual little brother had taken up the guitar just beforehand, and my cousin Cliff had found his dad's guitar. We found his dad's guitar in their house, so it had been on my radar, like little snippets of I knew what a guitar was, but no music background in my family at all. Like my grandma used to sing a little bit, and I just gave it a go, and it became. There's no questioning. It became a complete obsession. 5, 6, 7 hours a day, 7 days a week for years. I couldn't put it down.
Yeah, I knew that I knew that from the early days, and I used to bump into you, and we used to often have a chat at a pub gig or whatever like that. And I was thinking, this guy's practicing a lot. You can always tell the guys that are kind of, whacking out a few chords, getting away with it, and enjoying it, and having fun and all that. And then there's the guys that are practicing a lot, and you were one of those. The Jaywalkers, you speak of Cliff there on bass. We're talking about Cliff Dean, aren't we? On bass guitar, and what a great, and look, picture this right now is going really good for Cliff. which is amazing. And I was chatting to Money a couple of months ago online, and I was going, holy cow, man! Look at you now. Like, you know, I remember standing in Kilkenny in a venue and jamming with you guys and stuff, and going like, there you go. Anything's possible. And of course, Omar, the great Omar Mahfood, the wonderful.
Dr. Omar now, I think.
He's a talented man, and I ended up. He did a couple of tours with us after, and things like that. And he's he came to Eastern Europe with us and stuff, and we had great fun. But the Jaywalkers, how did that come about? Who was the inventory there, or what was the idea behind it?
Oh, desperation for a name. Desperation. Right. I think we'd thrown everything in the kitchen sink at the wall as ideas. And I'd done a summer in San Diego, and I'd never come across jaywalking before. I thought it was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever heard of, that you could get fined for just crossing the street. And when we're looking for names, honestly, that it was desperation. And we're like, it'll do. We needed something. Every other name.
Yeah, would have worked. Yeah, it was quite memorable though. It was quite memorable. You would remember you guys not just for the great music, but the name it stuck. It definitely did stick at the time. For me anyway, anytime I used to bump into you. But what is the plan now? I know that in Australia you're obviously you're doing more than music. What are you up to these days?
Well, I kind of quite sadly packed it all in when I moved here. I moved here at 25. I'm almost 35 now. So the last 10 years, my music has been few and far between. A few friends I play with from time to time. There's actually an Irish guy out here in Sydney that I played with a couple of years ago. I do most of my friends' weddings, walking them down the aisle, which I absolutely love doing. It's an absolute honor to be asked to be part of close friends' special day. But apart from that, like I guess I played so much music in the lead up to moving to Australia, 3 nights a week, every week of the year. I think Christmas Eve was the only night I'd take off in the year to spend in a local pub with my family. So when I moved to Sydney and I got a job, and all of a sudden I came to Friday and I actually had money in my wallet, I was like, I don't need to gig. I love doing it, but it was a job. So I went a bit wild for a few years in Sydney, joined a local rugby club and enjoyed myself. Traveled a lot. I probably spent 5 years traveling a lot of countries. And only in the last I moved to Canada. I lived in Vancouver for a little while and then came back to Sydney only about 2.5 years ago, and I've settled into working life, which has probably taken over a lot of my music. But I have the guitar here, I have a little setup. I played my first gig actually in 10 years with a band just 2 weeks ago with a girl, a singer. I was just playing backing guitar. So I don't plan on giving it up, but definitely I doubt it'll ever be as obsessive as it used to be.
Yeah, but look, you've got the work is done anyway. I mean, the practice is in there, the work is done, so you can kind of enjoy it. You can kind of dip in and out of it now, which is wonderful. Are you doing any recording or any plan? Do you think maybe you might, record a couple of tracks just for fun and release them, or would that even be on your radar now?
I'd love to. Yeah, no, I'd love to. I've probably got maybe 15 ideas for songs, and four or five songs I've written in the last number of years. They are few and far between these days. But I'd actually love to get back to Ireland and do a session down in Gavin Glass's studio in Wexford.
Yes,
that's one day when time allows. That's definitely a dream. And just stick 6 or 7 of them together on because I've recorded stuff on my little sound card and laptops and stuff. But I'd love to do one more. It'd be nice. But I hope music will be part of my life forever. I don't really ever plan on.
It is always there. And of course, Gavin Glass, what a guy, what a man. Gavin is getting very, very, very popular both here and abroad as a go-to guy for your stuff, because he knows you're getting a producer and an engineer all rolled into one when you walk into his room.
And a musician.
And a singer, lots of things. He's an amazing guy, and hopefully I'm going to try and get him to come on to Friday Night Live soon, because I do like everything he does. And I know he was on radio for a while. I remember he was doing a bit with Nova and stuff like that as well. So he's kind of a man of many hats, but he's good at everything he does, But and the family, how are all the family? I would say I met them up and down, and I was sorry to hear about the loss of your dad recently as well. A fine gentleman, and I met him a couple of times. But it was great to bump into you anytime at a gig. As a family, you were always quite unified and great. And your mum, I know, is a big supporter of everything that you were doing at the time. How is she keeping everything good in Ireland? Did they get out?
They're keeping well. I think that they're like most people. They're quite grateful for the simple things.
Yeah,
Just going for a coffee or going for a walk. Just
yeah,
I think this COVID has leveled everyone's expectations of life.
yeah,
But they're keeping well. Yeah, and they were huge supporters. My dad had talked to anyone who'd listened to him.
yeah.
My mom, I still remember my mom chasing this. We played in a battle of the bands years ago, and we lost to this band who were amazing, but they were experimental noise band, so it wasn't really music.
Yeah.
To my mom, it wasn't music.
He wasn't happy.
She chased the guy out of the venue. She's
I can totally see her doing that. I can see her doing that. I remember I meeting them a couple of times that we hooked up with Ian the Jaywalkers and stuff, and she was very passionate about the music and about good music. In fairness, she knows her stuff. She knows what she likes, which is wonderful.
Yes.
Do you envisage yourself ever catching up, hopefully down the road with the lads from the Jaywalkers? Maybe at some point, wouldn't it be wonderful? An old reunion, maybe next year or after.
I'd love to. When I was at home just last September, I did spend quite a bit of time with Cliff. Picture this. Obviously, we're on a bit of a hiatus, like everyone else. While COVID was had the world on lockdown, and it was lovely just to play some songs again. And then about 2 years before COVID hit, I was living in Vancouver. Jonas, I don't know if you remember. Jonas lives in Germany, and Omar is in Cork. And we decided to write a song remotely before remote living was a thing before. So we spent about 3 months writing and recording this song, each with just emails back and forth, just sending little MP3 files. And we made a little video of the song, which is super fun.
I saw it. Yeah, it's very good. I love it. It's really cool.
Jonas Silver Touch there. He's a weapon at producing music and recording. So that was really enjoyable. I don't envisage like it will ever stop. I don't ever want to stop doing it. And the guys are, we don't chat as often as we should, but I'd like to think the lifelong friends there as well. It's just about picking up where we left off.
Yeah, and isn't it great? Look, I won't lie to you. It's great to sort of not have to depend on it all the time, because I know how that feels. For many years, I my sole job and whatever. I won't lie to you. It's pretty much still my sole job, but at least I do a lot of kind of teaching and going in and out of the schools with the drum workshops and different things. So it's not so much something you have to gig all the time. It's a lovely feeling, isn't it? When you kind of go out on a Saturday night and kind of go, I don't actually have to get up on stage tonight. It's kind of, I can have a few beers and be in the audience. There is something wonderful about that, I think. Sydney has a good music scene. I remember I was out there, I suppose maybe 8 or 9 years ago. Really good music scene out there. I went into a lot of clubs and stuff and discovered some amazing music. Do you find yourself rambling into the club, say pre-COVID? Have you found yourself sort of falling up on a stage by accident and somebody handing you a guitar?
I actually had a Facebook memory come up yesterday. I had quite a few drinks and I was in this bar with it was a house band and a freestyle rapper.
Wow.
And we were getting people up out of the crowd to sing a song, and my housemate at the time, Rich, sort of suggested /forced/ pushed me up on the stage, going, "You have to sing a song." And I rapped out "Fresh Prince of Bel-Air" by Will Smith.
Nice. I saw it. It's pretty cool.
Very fun.
It's worth a watch. It is worth a watch. I saw it during the week when I was going, "What the hell is going on?" While I was looking for your original music, of course. And a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air comes on. I was like, "What the hell is going on here?" So brilliant, man, brilliant.
Yeah, it's good. I think Sydney music scene definitely has some super talented people here. Obviously, Sydney's got 6 million people and it's a multicultural city. So you have people from all over the world living here, so all different types of music. But I would say, like you mentioned some names at the start of people who are doing the music scene. The Loop went back in the day, I suppose, when I was doing it. Yeah. And there's amazing, like, high density of high caliber musicians, even in Carlow and Athy, and not even up in Dublin. And I haven't seen that replicated here, which is surprising given that the numbers, 100,000 people, 1 million people. And like the guys in Picture This and Cliff and Jimmy, etc., and also like Shane Hennessy and some of these guys from Carlow, like they've gone on to be globally famous.
Yeah,
and there's quite a long list. You could probably pick half a dozen, a little bit more. Probably of musicians just in that local area of regional country, villages,
Yeah.
essentially, who have
Yeah.
gone on to have forged impressive music careers. And
Yeah.
I haven't seen that replicated in Sydney. I think there's something special about Ireland. Maybe it's
Yeah.
just the history in the blood of telling stories and playing music. But yeah, it's pretty special. I haven't really seen it replicated anywhere
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
But I haven't spent too much time in the US, I guess.
But I agree. I agree with you. Like, I mean, I've been around the world and some a few times, and you never see anything like here. You just don't. And I think you're right. It's the fact that we're steeped in storytelling and history, and we're great for telling a story and passing it on. But also, I would have to put the point out there that, say, if you take a large city, for example, New York or Sydney or whatever, and you've got the 6 million people in the city, you're going to get a lot of same. That's what I have found. If I'm in big cities, there's a lot of talent, but it's quite samey, if you know what I mean. Whereas in Ireland, somebody in Castledermot's going to be totally different to somebody from Newbridge, where I'm from.
Yeah.
But yet we can relate to each other. But there's a world divide between both of us, even though we do the similar stuff. Because you've got that kind of Castledermot thing going on, and I've got the Newbridge thing going on, and there's something wonderful about that, isn't it? We've got our own little shires here, or something that makes us kind of unique, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I don't know what it is. It just seems to be rich, rich in ideas and creativity.
Yeah.
It's I think that's why people love going to Ireland, love visiting, because it's, you know, in Australia, I see heritage listed buildings that were built in the 70s. Like my mum's house is 150 years old. It's not even heritage listed. It's like, I think it's something about just being around for a long time, being an old country, being an old culture. It just
lovely.
has more time to breathe, where new countries are finding basic things they just haven't got there yet.
Yeah, I agree. I'm here in a farmhouse that's 103 years old. It's a wonderful place to be. And as I said to Ger Eaton, my first guest tonight, and he's big into retro kind of vintage stuff and that. And I said, look, I go back further than that. I go back to the old. I love the real old stuff. So if I find an old sort of skillet pot or a kettle or something out, which I often do out in the fields around here, or in the garden and stuff, and you're digging, I know, you know, we'll get it and polish it up and make sure it's pride of place in the middle of the flower bed or wherever it's supposed to go. There's something really cool about that. I don't know. But anyway, we're like the History Channel here. We're going on a mad one. I'm sure you have a guitar handy. I hope you do, because I'd love to hear a live song if possible.
Of course.
And you know what I'm going to say. Preferably one of your own, but I don't mind. Whatever you want to go for.
Yeah, I do have a song I wrote. They are few and far between these days, but I wrote a song during the lockdown last year.
Brilliant.
I was down in South Australia, in Adelaide, and probably feeling a little bit missing home a little bit. And I was nostalgic, so I wrote, I guess, an Irish influenced folk song. So it's definitely got some Irish flavors in there.
Lovely.
Yeah, I had to write down the words just a moment ago before I jumped on this, because I
sure.
haven't played it in a while. But
that's okay. That's allowed.
Yeah, and it's about I love to just sort of dive into situations and try to describe a song around the situation. This one's about the sort of the dying hours of a relationship and all of the sort of anxiety and confusion about why it's gone all wrong and what's happening next. Just that little moment in time. To explore it.
Absolutely cool. I like it. What's it called?
It's called "Don't Be Afraid to Hurt Me."
Don't be afraid to. I love it. I like the title straight away. Stephen Castles, in your own time, my friend. Take it away. Take it away.
Okay.
Need to cry alone or walk out the door. Stand here a man, don't be afraid to hurt me. A million questions, if a million questions were. You could have let me in, you could have let me down softly. Gonna leave the light on. case. I'm gonna leave the light show off the door in case. The wind begins to howl, the sky begins to cry. Looking out from the door, I find no answers in the night sky. I pray this storm will pass and that the leaves will dry. Oh, when I awake, you'll be by my side. I'm gonna leave the light on in case. I'm gonna leave the light show off the door in case. No rhythm, no reason, no rhyme. Wanna know why.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You haven't lost it, man. You have not lost it at all. You are like a fine wine. You're just getting better and better and better over time. I gotta say, people are loving
You're
it.
getting more charming and more charming over time too.
Listen, I tell you, I'm well trained. But that was wonderful. I think there's a video of that song, but I can tell you something. It's much better when you play it like live like that. That is a ringer. If my only task and claim to fame is that I brought you out of retirement, I would be glad that we did this tonight, because that needs to go. That needs to go down, man. That has to go into a studio and get itself onto a vinyl, because I think it would be lovely on vinyl. But wherever, just it needs to be recorded. It just has to be recorded. It's wonderful. And whatever else you're doing, I can't thank you so much for. I know it's tough, as I say, getting up for the morning coffee, and we're all here sipping on our beers, and but I'm glad that you're actually on the coffee, because you're in fine vocal there and flying it. Thanks a million for joining us, Stephen. I really appreciate it. We'll catch up.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, do you want to give a shout out? You want to give a shout out to the family while you're on, or?
Yes. Yeah. I'm sure they're wrapped up, fast asleep, and we'll be watching the replay tomorrow.
Watching the replay tomorrow.
They've got a 1-year-old called Cara, so I'm sure maybe they are awake. She tends not to sleep recently.
Well, listen, thanks so much, and enjoy your day. Have a great day there in Sydney, and listen, keep going, man. Keep trucking at that. I know you're busy during the day as well and stuff, but keep picking that guitar up, because that needs to be heard, in my opinion.
So much.
Mind yourself.
So
take care.
Thanks
have a lovely time. Yeah, you're welcome. Stephen Castles, mind yourself. Good night. Take care, buddy. Wow. Now that's what you call a blast from the past, but a musical treat also, that you all deserve to hear on Friday Night Live, because Stephen can play a guitar, as you could see and hear there, and sing a fine tune as well. But he's a very in-depth style of writer as well. Everything he does is, in my opinion, is just 100% on the ball. So yeah, I hope, yeah, perhaps we brought him out of retirement, hopefully, and we'll see him in the studio with Gavin Glass this time next year in Ireland. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And he could always pop across to Limerick here and jump in on the Friday Night Live next year, because that's the plan. We're going to try and actually do the show live with real people, as I said, the people in the flesh with us here. So wouldn't that be wonderful if it all works out, hopefully, and stuff. Anyway. Moving on swiftly. Thank you so much, Stephen Castles, and all my guests tonight. I do have one more guest who is one of my favorite people in the whole universe, Catrice Greer, who looked after all of the Poetry Corner segment, all the spoken word artists and poets that you saw on Friday Night Live over the past couple of months. That was Catrice who organized all of that. Wonderful, wonderful person. But she's not going to be with me for another 10 minutes or so. So I did say I'm going to try and squeeze in a video tonight, because I really feel I've got to do it. And it's by Mr. Tiz McNamara, who couldn't make it tonight from Toronto in Canada. But I can tell you, I'm okay with that. It's fine, because I know he's going to be here and he's going to make it. We'll probably get him next week or the week after. But you do need to see this video, because I watched it during the week when I was doing a bit of research on Tiz, and it's called April Fool. It's his new single. It is just mind-blowingly wonderful, lads. If you like emotive, emotional music that hits home and gets you right in the gut, this is it. Now you've got to watch the video. You've got to watch every piece of it, everything, because there's movie production in this as well. It's just wonderful. So this is Tiz McNamara from Cork, by the way, who is based in Toronto currently, and hats off to Tiz. This is your video called April Fool, his new single.
Well, I met her at the bottom of Hope Street as the rain brought the first day of June. I've never got to know so many strangers. She held me like the stars hold the moon. I fall on my knees and I fall on my knees. You know, it hit me hard, it hit me heavy. I guess I always looked up to you. I know that you'd be almost 34 now. Instead you've just become the April Fool. And I fall on my knees and I fall on my knees and I fall on my knees and I fall on my knees. They told us that you were only sleeping. They told us that you would be for a while. As the years pass, the anger starts to creep in. It's too much to take in as a child. And I fall on my knees, and I fall on my knees, and I fall on my knees, and I fall on my knees. Well, I met her at the bottom of Hope Street.
Wow, 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 wow. So, guys, that just had to be included in tonight's show, regardless of the fact that Tiz wasn't able to make it tonight. It doesn't really matter because I was not going to miss the opportunity to play that song for you because I discovered it during the week. And I'm going to be honest, that song would rip your soul in two and put it back together. It is the most emotive piece of music I think I have listened to ever, probably. I'm not going to lie, ever. That video, those lyrics, wow. And we will get him on. I know he's going to come on in the next week or two. He just got caught up a couple of things. He couldn't make it this evening, but it doesn't matter. That is something else. Would you agree? April Fool, it's called. And it's written about in dedication to his father and his brother, who sadly were drowned on April 1st. Many years back, and every year as a tribute to his family members who he lost, he releases a single every April 1st every year, which is the most amazing story I've heard from any musician so far in a long, long time. But that video really, really resonates. You know, if you're human in any way, shape, or form, that goes right through you, man. That goes right through you and comes out the other side. That's what it is. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. What a video! What a video! So Tiz McNamara, hats off to you, my friend. If you're watching the replay tomorrow, we included you. I wouldn't forget you, and we'll get you again next week or the week after. Anyway, wow, I'll tell you, need deep breaths after that. Deep breaths after that. But moving on to almost the end of the night, but just before I do go to, as I call her, my favorite person in the universe, and I mean that, online, my online universal favorite, okay? And she knows it, and we're going to talk in a minute. Before I go to her, you're wondering, as I said earlier on, why is there a PayPal link going across the bottom of the screen? Because I've never really been down for putting PayPal links on the screen, but I am doing it because I had a chat during the week with a few friends of mine. We were just talking, we're kind of saying, you know what? Some of my mates were kind of saying, you know, put a PayPal link up and just to, you know, see if people would make a couple of small donations towards the show. Up to you entirely. I don't want to force anybody to do anything they don't want to do. But just to keep a little kitty going for Friday Night Live, to keep all the gear in check, keep everything moving, the backdrops, the stuff that we kind of buy and put up around the place, and that's all. Just if anybody wants to lend a hand, a couple of bob to the show and stick it into the PayPal that's on the bottom of the screen, I would be forever grateful to you. Now, also, you don't just have to do that, because if you really, really want something for your book, you can buy the album, which I've been running to the post office every week with batches of this, which is wonderful, and it's great, and people have been loving it all over the world. So if you want to get your own album, either you can use the PayPal link and just send me an old message on Messenger, and we hook the whole thing up and I send it straight to your door, either signed or not signed, whatever you want, message on it or not. So that's another thing you can do if you want to use the PayPal link for that and get something. Or if you want to, look, put a few bob into it, a couple of euros. If everybody throws a few euros in for the show, it'd be great. It would just keep things moving over and ticking over. I would really appreciate your support because it all helps. Every little helps. That's it. That's my shameless plug for the evening. Now, moving on to my last guest and one of my favorite people, as I've said, Miss Catrice Greer in the United States of America, who was responsible for setting up all of the Poetry Corner segments that you saw, the spoken word and Poetry Corner artists that you saw over the past couple of months. It was all Catrice who found the people and got them together and made sure they all turned up and everybody was on time and all that stuff. She was wonderful. And I thought, seeing as we finished up that segment last week, not finished for good, by the way, we're coming back in August. We are coming back in August and definitely September with a bang, with a whole new series of poets and spoken word artists from America and everywhere around the world, because she is so well connected, and rightly so, because she's a fine artist herself. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. I hope she's not busy and we're okay, that we should be able to have a chat. So let's see what she's up to. Catrice Greer.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yo,
okay?
yo. Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you 100%.
Excellent.
Listen, I hope I know you were very busy earlier on. I hope everything is wrapped up and you're able to relax now and enjoy a chat on Friday Night Live.
Absolutely. We had Beehive is an international, they had an international slam. They host international slams, and they also host local slams where they are in the UK. And so I usually stand in as one of the judges on occasion, and they're so kind about that. And it went great today. It went great.
Brilliant. You were so you were judging as such. You were kind of judging the competition. That's nice. It's always a difficult task, isn't it? Even though it's a nice task to do, but it's always difficult when you're an artist yourself. I find it tricky. I've judged a few things in my time, and I always find it tricky because you don't let anybody down. But unfortunately, you have to kind of use your integrity and your experience to pick somebody. Anyway, that aside, thank you. And the reason you're on this week is because I really can't thank you enough for all the wonderful people you brought to the show over the past couple of months, spoken word and poetry. We had some really good times, really good evenings here. And I spoke to each of them. I've said to them individually that I know nothing about this genre. And that's what I love the most about it. So the night always ended on a complete and utter surprise. It could have went either way, and it never went south. It always went up. It was wonderful each time. So thank you for all the hard work. Yeah. Well, thanks for all your hard work that you put in behind the scenes. People need to know that. It's not just a case of, let's make a few calls here. There's a lot of work involved. How are things with you, and how are the performances going? Are there live performances?
Well, things are going well with me. I am a poet for the page, and I also do performance poetry. So I'm a combination of poetry. So I don't do a lot of live performances very often, but I do them on occasion. And so we have I'm curating a panel of 3 other women for Say It Louder. It's arts and activism, and it's about womanhood, and that will be July 29th. And so kind of curating that, producing it, and sharing it. And Gary Huskinson is the executive producer, and he's really great. And I expect that to be a very good event. I am going to perform in it, but the other ladies are our features. And besides that, I'm just writing a book, trying to get my book done, and etc.
Of course. Of course you're writing a book. What else would you be doing in your spare time? Let's write a book. Yeah, why not? Catrice can do it. If I know anybody. Listen, you know what I'm doing here? I make comics with my kids. That's the height of my literary experience right now. We make comics, and we staple pages together, and we do little comics. But you go and write a book. Why not? And well done. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Is this upcoming performance in July going to be online, or is it going to be in a venue?
It's going to be online. That's a good question. It's virtual.
Cool.
It will be virtual.
Brilliant. How can we find it?
Well, the Say It Louder website has all of the information, and so does the
Okay.
Friends of Say It Louder. The Friends of Say It Louder Facebook page, as well as Say It Louder on Instagram.
Okay.
They'll roll out the marketing in about another week or two, and
Brilliant.
you'll be able to hear about that. Yeah.
Cool. Well, put the link. Yeah, you send me on a link and we'll make sure we put that up because that sounds really cool. I like the sound of it. Now,
For
I know
sure.
that you are also well able to sing a really fantastic tune, no problem to you. And I have used the word, and I want to tell everybody this because when you come onto the show, I usually evaporate. That's usually what happens, and I mean it. That's what happens, okay? Because you sing like an angel, you speak like an angel, and everything is just wonderful. You asked me earlier on, how do I sound? I was like, I'm not even going to touch the dial. It's fine. It's perfect. I don't need to touch the controls. So
How kind. I was
no,
terrified.
no pressure, okay?
I was thinking, I hope this is going well. So thank you for saying that. It means a lot.
No. Yeah, no, I still remember the first time you came on the show a few months back, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful performance. Both the singing and the spoken, it was just lovely together. And I think you're going to do something similar this evening. You're kind of alluding to doing something similar. Are you going to do a little bit of kind of vocals with spoken?
Yes, a hybrid. This particular poem I've done before. I was going to do another one, but I realized my publisher would probably appreciate it if I would please do the poem that's about to be put out there. So it's through Ice Flow Press. It will be in Ice Flow Press in a few weeks. It's for the Pandemic Love Anthology.
Okay.
And it's a hybrid poem, so it's a performance poem is what it is. So
Okay.
there's poem for the page, there's spoken word, and then under the spoken word umbrella is performance poetry, spoken word, performance poetry, and slam. And I'll do performance poetry, and that's what this is.
Okay. Does that mean basically that it can go on paper and be performed? Is that what you kind of mean? It can be read or listened to. It's both. Is that kind of the
Performance
idea?
poetry is meant to be heard, sort of like
Okay.
it's bardic. It comes from the bardic tradition. It's
Okay.
meant to be heard. It can be put on the page, but it doesn't function the same.
It doesn't have,
So
it doesn't have the effect. Yeah.
it's meant for emotion and to get people excited and to
Yeah.
really,
Yeah. Yeah.
get people engaged in that way.
Yeah. It's kind
Poetry
of,
for the
yeah.
page is a little quieter. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and
Yeah.
it's and I love
it's
it,
kind of
different
3D poetry.
toolbox.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
3D poetry. I like it. Well, what is this poem called?
It's called Pick Me.
Pick Me. I like it. Catrice Greer, in your own time, when you're ready, treat us to another delight when you're ready.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me, and thank you, everyone. I know this is late, so thank you for staying up. This is called Pick Me. In the orchard they hang, swaying in the morning's breath, long since ripened, dry, puckered rinds, leathered, turning on the nub, drinking the dawn and the dew, each one swaying. Pick me, pick me. These waters run deep, running free. Pick me in the sun. When the day is done, which one? Oh, pick me. These waters run deep, running free. Pick me, pick me. Which one? This one, nimble, peeling back its pebbled skin, hiding the sheathed face of her fruit, unthreads the pith. Gentle, each ribboned strand spinning gold, setting her free from imprisoned rind, pulling back stubborn membranes, the opaque veil of her, sectioned. Despite embittered seeds, she is there, swimming, juiced, shedding her skins, her fruity soul skinless, dripping, cradled in the lush grasses, sprung to hold her up. The fall was a jump. She chose herself. These waters run deep, running, running free. Pick me in the sun, when the day is done. Pick me. These waters run deep, running, running free. Pick me, pick me, pick me. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Catrice. You're the only person that comes on here, and every time you come on, I forget to like cue myself up to speak at the end. It takes me a second. I just forget to go for the controls. Wow, that is wonderful. I love it. I love it. The mix of both. Do you ever put stuff on? Like, do you put stuff on CD? Do you have audio CDs of your performances?
Right now, that's the plan for the book.
I think you should
do the book and convert everything to audio. But right now, what I do have is SoundCloud. So I have a SoundCloud account, and like this poem in particular, when the publisher releases it, I believe within a month's time, I've already received the approval. They're just letting us know when the publication date is. What's going to happen is it rolls out. The words will be on the digital site, and he is linking the multimedia to it so that people can click onto it and hear the poem as well. But I have about maybe 7-8 poems on my SoundCloud that people can relax
Brilliant.
and hear.
Oh my God, I'm going to check that out, because that could keep me sane. Okay, that kind of stuff can keep me completely sane and in wonderful form. So is it just Catrice Greer? SoundCloud /Catrice Greer.
Yeah, when we finish our episode tonight, I'll be sure to pop all my links in the
Please do.
In the comment section.
Please do.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, do. No, because people, you're getting a nice little following here in Ireland, Catrice. You've got a nice little fan base here. People like what you do. And it's funny because earlier on, I got a couple of lovely messages from people who remembered you from a couple of months ago and how the Poetry Corner came about and all of that stuff. So, people know about you, and they love you for what you do and what you've done for the show. And, you've been so kind to get involved and help me out with that. And we are going to, of course, hit the ground running in September, hopefully. We're going to hit the ground running with some really exciting stuff. I just know it's going to be good. I just know it is. I don't know what it is yet, but it's going to be great.
Well, thank you, Dave. Dave, your show is great. And it really is. It's great. The evolution of it has been very good. And it's my pleasure to be a part of your show, and you're very kind, and sending much love back to everybody who sent it to me. Thank you so much. I hope to come there one day. It is one of my hopes to come and see you.
I would love that. I would love that.
But in the meantime, thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Everybody really appreciates your performance and what you've done here. But I'd love that. Wouldn't that be something else? If you could make it to Ireland at some point, that'd be super. And because I have this vision in my mind about maybe doing a Friday night live show, like a gig, hopefully if they lift all the restrictions at some stage, and we could get everybody on a stage and actually, wouldn't that be something else? And try and get, look, not everybody will make it, but try and get as many people that were on the show to come and do one hell of a gig just for fun. That would be something else. So there's something to think about, Catrice. Maybe we'll knock our heads together in August about that one and see what happens. But listen, meantime, you enjoy yourself the rest of your day. Have a lovely day, and sit back and relax. And thank you so much once again for joining us. And I know we'll be in touch all the time anyway, but I'm looking forward to what's going to unfold in late August, September. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you, Dave, and enjoy your summer, and talk to you again soon. Good night, everyone. It's good to see you again.
Good night, Catrice Greer. Take care. Take care. So, like as I said to you before, one of my favorite people in the universe, my favorite online person in the universe, and another person who we don't know each other in person, but I feel as though we do know each other really well. It's amazing. And two of my guests alluded to that tonight about how things online have happened, where you get to know people in a very, very positive and healthy way online. It's a great thing about this pandemic, because there was an awful lot of time been spent online, kind of wasted time, searching and digging for stuff you didn't really need to know about, or you didn't need to spend your time on. And I have to say, I have found myself putting those uses to much more sort of productive avenues since I started the show. And Catrice is one of those people for sure, amongst many others who I've met through doing this. So anyway, that's it, guys. That's kind of a wrap. We've gone to 10 past 12, which is not bad. And considering we were down a guest tonight, but not to worry. Tiz McNamara, as I said earlier on, what a video. Go check that out online. And we'll have Tiz here next week or the week after, I'm sure. But to all my guests tonight, my special guest, Jerry Eaton, who was on at 10 p.m, and followed by Noel Boland. You've got to keep an eye on Noel. He's going to be doing big stuff this year. And Stephen Castles, who joined us from Sydney in Australia, and great to do an interview with somebody on the other side of the world, and during morning time. I love it. I love those. I love the Australian connections, and of course Catrice Greer, my final guest. So to all of you who have tuned in tonight and watched Friday Night Live once again, episode 14 in the bag, lads. 14 episodes from the Sunroom, the wonderful Sunroom Studios here with our lovely backdrop and our lights and everything here. As I said earlier on, I'm not going to go on about it. There's a PayPal link at the bottom of the screen, spinning across. If you want to make a small donation to the show, I actually would really appreciate it, because it would help to keep the old machine oiled and keep the stuff going and all that kind of stuff. If you don't want to make a donation and you want to get something that would be a nice little gift to yourself or somebody, this is the album. And I do my runs to the post office every Monday with the album, and it's great. It's flying out the door and people are loving it. So if you want one of those, you can also use the PayPal link and just hit me through Messenger and tell me you want an album. And if not, if you want to make an old contribution to the show, a couple of euros, if everybody throws it into the kitty, we can it makes it a little bit easier to keep the show running, and little things that crop up just means that we can kind of keep it rolling. So I would really appreciate that. So there it is. There you have it. It's official. I have put my first PayPal link up on the internet, and why not? You know what? I think it's only fair that we'll have a go at it anyway, and see if we can kind of all dig in and help out and keep the show going on the road. So I'm going to leave you, as I do every week, with a shameless plug. And thanks to everybody, by the way, for tuning in. My friend Kevin Byrne, who we spoke about on KMFL Radio. You have to go check that out, Kevin and Mags. They have a wonderful sort of radio show thing going on in their house, and it's really cool. They're on most nights. Just check it out, KMFL Radio. It's really, really cool. And then all my dear friends that are here, Thomas Jackman, Eugene, all the usual people, Mark, Brian, all the people, you know who you are. There's loads of here. I don't get to watch the comments that much. I try to put as many of them up as I can, lads, because I suppose I'm to be concentrating on chatting as well and stuff with the guest. But I do look back on them all when the show's over, every one of them, and love looking back on them. By the way, if you do have any pictures of the show, if you're Chromecasting to your TV or anything like that, or anything kind of cool like that you have, because people have sent some lovely pictures to me after the show on occasion, please send them to me through Messenger. Just send it straight to me, and I'll put it up and on the old Friday Night Live page as well. I love to get pictures of people with the feet in the air and the big screen TV and Chromecasting it onto the telly or whatever it is, or on your phone. Screenshot, whatever it is you're doing, send me on the old pictures from wherever you are in Ireland or the world. I love to get those pictures. So anyway, without further ado, that is it. Friday Night Live is a wrap for another week, guys, and I'm going to leave you with a shameless plug, as I call it at the end, and it is, of course, it has to be one of my own songs. I might as well squeeze something in. I thought I'd pick this one just for the crack, because my good great friend and producer also, who produces stuff for me at the minute, we work together quite closely, Dylan Hughes. And Dylan, if you're watching tonight, He's actually down in County somewhere around Munster. I won't reveal where he is, but he's not too far away from me here in Limerick at the minute. And I'm looking forward to maybe catching up with him over the next day or two. And I kind of got talking to him earlier on and then thinking about it. I said, you know what, I'm going to play a video, something that both of us did in Dublin a few years back, a song called Holding On to Danger that I wrote, and we played it together live. This is live in acoustic, and it's myself and Dylan. And I hope you enjoy it. It was a little performance we did in BIM in Dublin, and it just captured something for me. I love it. So here we go.
The song's called Holding On to Danger. Holding on to danger, when there's nothing left to say. Fighting with the feeling, I want you to stay. Isolated incidents and kept behind closed doors. An ocean of betrayal, I want you to go. And if we go to war, we stand to lose it all. No win, no lose, no draw. Instead, we share the blame. And that's why I still remain. Holding on to danger, cause it's the only thing I got. I watch my children playing. I want this to stop. And if we go to war, we stand to lose it all. No win, no lose, no draw. Instead, we share the blame. And that's why I still remain. Holding on to danger, cause it's the only thing I got. An ocean of betrayal, I want this to stop.
Good night. God bless everybody from Friday Night Live. Thanks very much for tuning in, guys. Take care. Mind yourselves. I'll see you all next week for a really, really special, cool lineup. something really, really cool coming. I hope you guys are able to tune in and join me again. As I say, check out the PayPal link if you want to support the show. That'd be great. See you all next week for show number 15. Take care and good night, and mind yourselves, and listen, stay safe, get vaccinated. You might as well. There's nothing else to be doing.